Chapter 7. Now's the time. Jack took a deep breath. Now he fully understood their mission. They must get Dr. Benjamin Franklin to sign the Constitution of the United States. Morgan had written, "In old Philadelphia, a paper must be signed. Help Dr. Ben make up his mind." Jack looked at Annie to see if she understood. She nodded. "What is everyone arguing about?" Annie asked Ben. "Some want a strong central government," said Ben, "and others do not. Some are not even sure democracy can work. Can we trust our citizens to rule themselves? Do we need a king? Will the small states have the same power as the big states? My greatest concern, though, is slavery. We must end it, but I fear that it will not happen now." "Oh, that's terrible," said Annie. "Indeed it is. On the other hand, there is a great need for a central government," said Ben. "We have no way to collect taxes. We have no way to select the leaders." Ben took a deep breath. "I have almost lost hope, my friends. I fear we will never be one nation." "Really?" said Jack. "Never?" Jack shook his head. "I just do not see how we can come to a fair agreement," he sighed. Then he yawned. He closed his eyes. In the next moment, his head fell to the side, and he started to snore. "Oh man, this is serious," Jack whispered to Annie. "If he doesn't sign the Constitution, I'll bet the others won't either. And without the Constitution, our country will never come together." "Let's look at Morgan's notes," said Annie. Jack reached into his backpack and pulled out their rhyme. He read the last two stanzas. "Listen to his thoughts. If his fears start to grow, and he loses all hope, then there's a place he must go. 'Tis a land filled with things you see every day, but these everyday wonders will show him the way." "There's a place you must go," repeated Annie. "Read the last part again." Jack reread the last 4 lines. "'Tis a land filled with things you see every day, but these everyday wonders will show him the way." "I get it," said Annie. "Morgan's telling us to take Ben to Frog Creek, into our time." "What?" said Jack. "No." "Yes," said Annie. "She says go to a land with things you see every day. That's not America in 1787. That's America in our time." "But we've never taken anyone home with us," said Jack. "Never." "I know. This will be so cool," said Annie. "We just have to get him up to the treehouse." She and Jack looked up. "Impossible," Jack said. "He can't climb the rope ladder." "We have to try," said Annie. She tapped Ben's shoulder. "Excuse me," she said. "Doctor?" Ben stirred him from his nap. "Yes," he said. "Sorry, I must have dozed off." "That's okay," said Annie. "Jack and I have a secret to tell you. A really big secret." "Yes," Ben sat up in his chair. He yawned and shook his head. "Tell me, what is it? I like secrets very much." "There's a treehouse in this tree," said Annie. "In this very tree," said Ben. "Yes," said Annie. "But the big news is that it's magic. It can take you to the past or to the future." "Goodness, yes, of course it can," said Ben. He winked at them. "I play games like this with my grandchildren." This isn't a game," said Jack. "It's real." "Real indeed," said Ben, nodding. His eyes twinkled. "No, seriously, it's real," said Annie, standing. "You can see a little of the treehouse through the branches. Look up." Ben leaned forward in his chair and looked up. "Oh, yes," he said. "Goodness, I had no idea. Did Lewis build that?" No," said Jack. Annie pulled the rope ladder out from the hiding place. "So this is what we have to do," she said. To get to the treehouse, we have to climb the ladder." "Oh, my. Do you know how old I am, child?" asked Ben. "You said you were 81, said Annie, "but no one is too old for a little bit of magic." "No, indeed," said Ben, smiling. "I'm definitely not too old for magic. Let's give it a try." He stood up and grabbed the rope ladder. "Go slowly and we'll hold it steady," said Jack. He and Annie held both sides of the ladder. Ben carefully climbed up through the mulberry tree and into the magic treehouse. "Oh my!" Ben called from above. Annie hurried after him. Jack grabbed Ben's walking stick and carried it up the ladder. Inside the treehouse, Ben looked amazed. "I had no idea this was here," he said. "How could I have missed it?" "You missed it because it wasn't here until this morning," said Jack. Annie picked up the Pennsylvania book. She found the picture of Frog Creek. "Ready to see the future?" she asked. Ben laughed. "Of course. I've always wanted to peek into the future." "How about 2019, said Annie. "Why not? That sounds delightful," said Ben. "You children have a wondrous imaginations." He still thinks we're playing a game, thought Jack. We should probably do a better job of preparing him. "Okay, now's the time," said Annie. "Wait," said Jack. "Wait." He was starting to worry about traveling through time what traveling through time might that blah, blah, blah. He was starting to worry that traveling through time might give Ben a heart attack. Annie paid no attention. I wish we could go there, she exclaimed. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 8. Run for your lives. It was still hot and muggy in the Frog Creek woods. Jack and Annie were wearing their own clothes again. Ben's clothes hadn't changed. He had on the same outfit he'd worn in Old Philadelphia, from his white ruffled collar to his buckled shoes. What happened? He asked Jack and Annie. He looked a bit dazed. Where are we? What are we wearing? What are you wearing? These are the clothes we wear in our time in 2019, said Annie. The treehouse brought you to our time in our hometown, Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. I don't understand, said Ben. He seemed to have difficulty breathing. Try to relax, Annie said softly. I promise you're safe. Ben closed his eyes. His breathing slowly returned to normal. All right, I feel better now, he said. Ben reached out the window and plucked a leaf from the branch of the oak tree. Well, this is real, he said, but it's all very strange. I wonder what science would have to say about this. I think we have to forget about science for now, said Jack. Think about your journey to the future as a big mystery, said Annie. A big mystery, Ben whispered. Yes, there are many things science can't explain. Time itself is a mystery. Exactly, said Jack. Time is a mystery. Ben shook his head. He looked troubled. Then he clapped his hands. So be it. Time is a mystery. He grinned. Show me my future country. Okay, said Jack, relieved. We'll go first and hold the ladder for you again. Jack and Annie hurried down the rope ladder. Annie carried Ben's walking stick under her arm. Then she and Jack held the ladder steady for Ben. Ben climbed down slowly. When he reached the ground, he looked around in amazement. Ready to take a walk, said Annie. Yes, said Ben. Lead the way. Annie handed Ben his walking stick. Then they all started to walk through the woods. As they walked, Ben smiled at the trees and the birds. Maple, oak, birch, robin, wren, woodpecker, he said. No different from the ones at home. Jack stopped at the edge of the woods. Okay, some things outside the woods will be different, he said to Ben. I just want to warn you. Don't be afraid, said Annie. Oh, my dear, I have been all over the world, Ben said. I have lived in France and England. I have spent time with kings and queens. I even helped fight a revolution. I fear nothing. Great, let's go, said Jack. He and Annie led Ben out of the woods. What is that? Said Ben, startled. He pointed his walking stick at the road. Your roadway. It is smooth and black? It's paved with asphalt, said Jack. Ben stopped to feel the road. Oh my, so flat and clean, he said. Yeah, I guess, said Jack. He'd never thought much about the smooth paved road, but at this moment, it did seem special compared to the dirty, bumpy cobblestone streets in Ben's city. A green station wagon came around the corner. The driver honked her horn. Ah! Ben said, jumping back. He stared after the car as it drove down the road. What is that? A car, said Annie. Cars, are like carts and buggies, Jack said quickly, except they have engines instead of horses that move much faster. They won't hurt you, said Annie. They won't hurt you, said Annie, if you don't step into the street in front of them. Ben pulled out his handkerchief. Oh my goodness. All right, he murmured, wiping his face. That was truly amazing. It's pretty ordinary to us, said Annie. Really, said Ben. Then let us proceed. They started up the sidewalk. Jack was relieved that Frog Creek was an old-fashioned looking town. Most houses were not that different from the ones in Ben's time. But Ben pointed to a sprinkler spraying the lawn. What is that? He said. It waters the grass, said Jack. Ah, said Ben. He pointed at the power lines. Along the road. I don't understand. Why are your clotheslines so high? Annie laughed. Those are not clotheslines. They're power lines and telephone lines, she said. The power lines carry electricity into all the buildings, said Jack. And my electricity, said Ben. Not really, said Jack. We don't get our electricity from lightning. It comes from burning coal and gas and oil in these big machines. That, make electricity? Annie finished. I'm still not sure I understand, said Ben. Annie leaned closer to Ben. We don't either, she whispered. Ben stopped. What is that strange noise? That loud buzzing, is it coming from overhead? They all looked up. The buzzing grew into a roar. A small propeller plane appeared above the treetops. It had taken off from a nearby airfield. Ah! Ben cried. Run for your lives! Then he covered his head and hobbled quickly back to into the Frog Creek woods. That is the end of chapter 8. I will be back shortly to finish our last 2 chapters.